schedule crucial, it take a toll. It don't matter if we at home or on the road. You try to tackle, our truck a sucker and take it soul. I'm staring at 4th and goal, gotta find an open hole. A line back, you just close a hole where I'm supposed to go. So now I'm thinking my centers are all pro, so I trust he can make a waffle wherever the ball go. Yeah, there's 5 seconds on the play clock. The crowd was loud, but they stopped. Now it's silent while they watch. They stand off in the red zone. All I see is red home. Watch me get this touchdown and this W and head home.
Happy Thanksgiving, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Game Day Live, presented by the Underdog Fantasy Sports. I am Skywalker, still here with former Dallas Cowboy wide receiver, my big homie, Jesse Holley. What's good, fam?
What's up, brother?
Y'all can't see this right now. Y'all can't see this right now, but this ensemble he got over here is just, it's dope. It got the Cowboys Thanksgiving thing. If you see the back, it got a Holley 16.
It's the jersey. It's like the jersey.
That's so dope.
Button up.
And see, he didn't even tell me. He covered it up all.
I was cold,
time.
actually.
It is kind of cold.
It's a little nippy here. My nipples start showing through his shirt. Forgive me.
We ain't on hanging with the boys now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're not hanging with the boys. But welcome, Cowboys Nation. Welcome. We are in a new spot today. And, man, it's a different energy in here. I love it. We are in Lockhart's Barbecue, right? Yeah, and this is his favorite spot. This is where he comes all the time, and it's about to be our new favorite spot here. Can't wait to get some barbecue after the show. But lots to get to in this Game Day Live pregame show, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Sports. Use the promo code ATOZ. And right now, the Buffalo Bills are actually up by 3.
We're gonna spend some of your money because last week you won. You won on Underdog. You won.
And stick around for that, by the way. There's a promotion, a $1 promotion that can get you to win $100.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Stick around for that. It's Thanksgiving, and I want to get into the inactives. But before I do that, before I get into the inactives, we get to the game day catch-up. The Cowboys, they play every year on Thanksgiving. So there's always these Thanksgiving Day moments, right? And this morning, I was rewatching a game because I was just watching highlights of different games on Thanksgiving to get ready. And you're going to remember this game vividly, but I remember it vividly as a fan. The Roy Williams game is what they call it. I know. But the reason why I want to bring this up is because the Cowboys were down 17-0, 2010. You remember this. 2010, Tony Romo goes down. They start off 1-7. John Kitna's a quarterback. They storm back into the game. But they didn't storm back into the game without the help of this man right here. Undrafted free agent Jesse Holley comes down against a former number 2 overall pick,
Reggie Bush.
Heisman Trophy,
Reggie
Bush on a punt return. Look like he about to do something. Get over here, son.
Not so fast.
What happened, Jesse Holley?
No, coming into that game, when you watch Reggie Bush, see, this is film study. When you watch Reggie Bush run, he always runs with the ball loose. So he would always have it, and the ball was loose. And so one of our coaching points was, if you get a chance to get to Reggie Bush, wrap one arm, come on the other side and see if you can't punch the ball loose. And so
textbook.
Textbook. And so, I follow coaching really well, and I was one of the special teams aces for that football team. And sure enough, punted to Reggie Bush, and they have a return right. I'm coming down the right side, and he's going up the right sideline, and I come around, wrap with my left hand, come around with my right, create a fumble. We recovered the fumble, go on to score the next play, and we should have won that game.
Should have won that game.
Roy Williams catches a slant and is going to the house. And he didn't tuck the ball away.
He didn't tuck the ball away.
And he fumbled, and they recovered the ball. We actually lost that game. But I was so upset because I would have won the special team player of the week because I had like 4 tackles that game and a fumble that I made on special teams. But, yeah, that was a good one.
So you've played in a few of these, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But that one stuck out to me because I'm like, dang, he made the play. Would have been the play of the game to kind of get you guys back going. What's so different about playing on Thanksgiving than a Monday night or Sunday night game being a Dallas Cowboy? What's different?
It's the historical feeling of it, right? You go all the way back to when I was a kid, and of course you remember the Pat Summerall and John Madden and everybody watches these games. You're with your family, everyone's huddled around the TV. It's even a little bit different than Monday night football or Sunday night football because everybody is together around the TV and watching whatever it is, football's on, and so Cowboys are on the game, and so a lot of guys will have your family come in town, and the thing about playing for the Cowboys is you always know it's going to be a home game.
Yeah.
So the gift and the curse is it going to be a home game, and you get to play at home, but everybody normally is coming to your home. You're the host home because you're the player. You have the most money. You probably have the biggest house.
Yeah, nice house.
Yeah, and everyone wants to come to the game. So it's always been historical to play on this day. But when you lose on this day, that turkey doesn't taste quite the same.
It don't. That's the gift and the curse. And the people be like, don't let the loss affect you. No, I'm sorry. When you are a fan, here's a gift and a curse about it, right? Like it's awesome. You're on a big stage. It's the Cowboys. It's Thanksgiving. It's traditional.
Yep.
But it's also a part of your Thanksgiving as a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
Like that's just facts. If you're not a Cowboy fan or I guess a Detroit Lion fan, but the Cowboys are different, then this is just football that's on. It's not the case with the Cowboys, man. It's your team on. It's America's team, the team that you love the most every single year, and they can make or break whether that turkey tastes good or whether that turkey got a little twang to it.
Even the way that people cook dinner, like they cook the meal in preparation around the game. It's like, hey, it has to be done by a certain time so that when we are all at the table, we say our grace, and now everyone gets their plate, find their spot. You know what I'm saying? One thing I loved about, there's the big papas in the house, the zaddies of the house. They get that good seat in the front, right? When you're the zaddy of the house, if you pay the bills in the crib, you get an opportunity to have the big seat in front of the house. So shout out to all the zaddies out there who get the big seat in front of the house. I celebrate mine on Wednesdays, and I am the zaddy of my household, so I get a chance to have the seat wherever I want it.
You sure Mamba ain't up there no more? She big.
Nah, Mamba, I put him in the cage.
Him always. See,
Mamba's to the point now where he sits up so high he can't be around because he's like wants to put his head on the table where the food is at. Yeah. And in a black household, we don't play that. No dogs in the kitchen around you cooking around the table. We won't play all that.
Shout out to the moms too. Mom Dukes.
Yes.
She's in the chat right now and she knows all about this. And she starts preparation the night before, the day before, and whatnot. And again, like you said, everything is built around this time frame, man. And it's kind of it's surreal when you really think about how much the Cowboys impact your Thanksgiving. And I'm glad that we could be a part of y'all's Thanksgiving today for the second year in a row.
Yes.
This is year 2. Time is flying.
I know.
Last Thanksgiving didn't go so well for the Dallas Cowboys. that was an excruciating defeat with the penalties and all that against the Las Vegas Raiders. This year, they get a beat-up Giants team coming in 7-3. Beat up or not, they're 7-3. It's a division game. And strike first, strike hard, no mercy. I do not care that they are beat up because the Dallas Cowboys are dealing with some of their own injuries and illnesses, if you want to call it. We don't know what's going around. We don't know if it's the Z-Vid or whatnot. But
they don't say that word anymore.
They don't say it anymore.
It just has all the symptoms, but you don't use that word anymore.
Something's going on, though. Let's get to the game day catch-up and get these inactives. Right now, Terrell Basham, Jonathan Hankins, Kelvin Joseph are all inactive with illness. And they're not the only 3 that have been dealing with this week, last week, and the week before. I don't know what's going on, but it's been going around in Dallas. Marquise Bell is inactive, and then Anthony Barr with the hamstring is inactive, and Will Greer, the third-string quarterback, is inactive. Takk McKinley was signed last week. At first, we were like, what was that about? And then we heard DeMarcus Lawrence's foot issue, knee issue, back issue, neck issue, everything issue. He's banged up everywhere. He will be active today, former Dan Quinn draft pick, so I think that'll be cool to see him get some more snaps. The more the merrier with these pass rushers because this is the Cowboys' strength right now.
And on top of that, this game, honestly, and we'll get more into it, this game should be well in hand at halftime. I'm going to be honest with you. I said this on my show yesterday. This game should be sponsored by 3-6 Mafia. This should be a whoop that trick type game. This should be literally a whoop that trick type game. You need to have it on there. You need to bring that back because when you look at what the Giants are bringing in, they're a pretty beat up team. 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen will not be. They didn't make the travel.
Yeah.
The receiver is out. Their starting cornerback is out. They lost the safety. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. The amount of players that they have lost in the last 2 weeks. And so for the Cowboys, they have to come in here and
take
advantage of it. And then for Takk McKinley, allow him to get some game-type reps, allow him to work some of the rust off for himself and to find his place in this Cowboy rotation.
You talked about that offensive line for the Giants, man. Their right tackle was out, Evan Neal.
Done.
Their starting left guard is out.
Done.
Their second-string left guard is out.
Done.
Third-string left guard is out.
Done.
And their now starting center, who I believe was their second center,
Done.
is out.
Yep.
They are down to, it's rough. It's rough over there, and this ain't the team that you want to have offensive line issues with, Cowboys Nation, and that's why I say take advantage, because the Cowboys defense, Basham is going to be out, Jonathan Hankins is going to be out, but dude, Terrell Basham is like their 7th pass rusher on this team, and Jonathan Hankins is a big loss, especially since, he's helping with the run game, but, I mean, given who the Giants have on the other side, I hate to say this, but I don't know that Jonathan Hankins' absence should matter much.
No. If they had all of their squad and was 100% healthy, then maybe.
Right.
Because we know what they want to be as a run unit. But they don't. They don't have it. They're down to their backups.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be frank, and I don't kick anybody in the National Football League. But when you get to your backup in the offensive line, you got that's bad play. Like, a lot of those guys are just here to be, practice squad bodies, and don't get me wrong, you make good money being on the practice squad, I can tell you that for sure. But when you're talking about going in the game and have to face a dude like Micah Parsons for 60, 70 snaps, Tank Lawrence, people like of that ilk, you now find yourself in kind of one of those, you're that wounded gazelle in the middle of the desert or the jungle, and those hungry lions have now circled. And you saw what happened last week against the Minnesota Vikings.
I just wrote that down.
Yeah. Well, you saw what happened when their left tackle went out. It was, and I love the sounds of the Cowboys when they play it. And Michael Parsons is begging to get back. I need one more series. Just let me get one, because they had already figured out, hey, whoever's lining up on their left, our right, mousing. It was literally, it was licking the chops, because we were going to go after the quarterback, and they were doing it all game long, to the point where they've had Kirk Cousins literally, very few times you see a quarterback check out in the middle of the game, but he had completely checked out.
Mind you, the Dallas Cowboys in week 3 pressured Daniel Jones more than he's ever been pressured in his entire life. Literally the most quarterback pressures recorded by Next Gen Stats since 2009 or something crazy like that. In week 3, okay, against their starting line,
right,
with their starting right tackle, who surrendered 3 sacks to DeMarcus Lawrence. We're almost 10 weeks later, right? Sam Williams has come along. Dante Fowler has come along. Osa is a top 15 rusher from pass rush percentage on the interior. Micah Parsons didn't get a sack against the Giants. You think he's not hungry today on Thanksgiving to get one?
Feast.
It's just, I just think it should be a feast up front and need to take advantage of it. But it all starts with that man on the screen right there, and Saquon Barkley. The Dallas Cowboys have this thing this year where they say, he is him. I am him, but it's more he is him. It's the Cowboys giving props to the rest of their team. He is they.
Yeah, all of they.
He is them. Saquon Barkley is that offense, Jesse. And last week, the Detroit Lions are playing right now. He had 22 yards on like 15 carries.
And they're one of the worst run defenses in the National Football League. I think they're like 28th.
Supposed to be. I mean, the last couple, we just talked about this in the pregame show. I don't know what happened in Detroit, but they switched something.
After the bye, they got right.
Week. Yeah. But, yeah, against a supposed porous run defense, 22. And I said, let me go watch this game, because something had to happen. All right, fumbles, or he didn't look like he really wanted to run that hard in that game. The offensive line clearly could not deal with Aleem McNeil on the interior. Now, listen, Aleem, I liked him coming out, North Carolina State. He had 10 pressures on the interior, Jesse. And he was just dominating those guys. The Cowboys come in with a better defensive front. And Saquon Barkley struggled last week. I know he had a good game against the Cowboys earlier in the year. But I think it goes back to, if you stop Saquon, you make Daniel Jones throw. There's certain quarterbacks, even Dak Prescott, where, okay, yeah, we can make Dak throw, but we know if he is on that day, he's on. And when has Daniel Jones ever been on?
and to even add on to your point, making Daniel Jones throw to who?
And there we go. Wandell's out.
Sterling
Shepard.
They are missing a ton of football players all across the board. The one guy who could kind of give us trouble, or has the natural ability to do so, they didn't want him on the football field, in Kenny Golladay.
Dude, right? 10 targets all year.
So, so even if he plays, this is a guy you're still asking yourself, the question is, their tight end is out. Who is Daniel Jones going to throw through? I think The two things that we have to worry about is Saquon Barkley, and then on top of that, Daniel Jones' legs.
Yep. Dan Jones' legs, that's really probably the biggest X factor in this game.
Last week against the Detroit Lions, he had 79 yards rushing. Right now, he's a top 5 rushing quarterback in the National Football League. You know who the top 2 are right now. Jackson and Justin Fields. Then you got Justin Allen, who's doing his thing. But, Daniel Jones falls right in line with those guys of being able to run the football with his legs. So the thing I don't want the Cowboys to kind of get complacent about, because I'll tell you as a former player, there are times where you come into a game and they turn on the film and they're watching film and they're looking at all the guys that they're missing, and there's a hint of what we didn't want before, of guys saying, now, dude, look at their offensive line. We're going to just do our own thing and start just trying to go get the quarterback. Right. What you can't do is you can't lose that focus. Have that same laser lion focus that you had when the world was against you going against Minnesota. Have that same focus in this game defensively, because the two things that can hurt you for the Cowboys defense, the Giants offense, is Saquon Barkley rushing the football if you get out of your lanes and you don't tackle him, game tackle him, and then Daniel Jones. He doesn't have the weapons to really beat you on the outside with his passing, but if you let him get free, he will tuck the ball and run the football, and the Cowboys faced that the first game. He got loose sometimes. You saw what he's done all year long, 437 rushing yards on the season. Daniel Jones has no problem and is not afraid of tucking that football and running. You got to be disciplined. You got to stay in your lanes, and you got to tackle.
Yeah, Dallas is giving up over 5 yards per carry to quarterbacks this season. So that's the one thing that can kind of keep things along the line for the Giants on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, or what have. Oh, wow. Every time we're on air, I swear there's a game going on.
And it's the Bills. It's the Bills. It was the last time it was the Bills the same, right?
Colts Eagles.
Colts Eagles. That's right. It was,
which is why we are where we are right now on YouTube. Shout out to those who are joining us, by the way, on YouTube, on a different platform, and on Facebook. We appreciate y'all for being here. But getting back to the weapons that you talked about, just a lot of Wan'Dale's out, Sterling's out, Kadarius Toney was traded, Daniel Bellinger is out. Those are his best weapons, were his best weapons. Now it's Darius Slayton and Richie James are the two most productive weapons that are left for Daniel Jones. And you would think, well, Sky, what about Kenny Galladay, as you brought up? 10 targets all year, and he's just really not been a part of their offense. Now, he may have no choice today but to be a part of their offense. So I come into each game, no matter how good or bad a team is, no matter how good or bad a player is, I say, don't let this game be the game that they tee off. Right. Be the game that they say, yeah, I did that against the Cowboys.
He can't have his Randy Moss moment.
He cannot have any moment today. Don't give him any hope. Right. Take all that away. And I don't know if that means you travel Diggs again, because I don't know if you necessarily need to do that. Kenny Galladay's not that guy. But don't let him become that guy that was a Pro Bowler or whatever it was, or semi-Pro Bowler a few years ago. Don't let him be that. His confidence is shot right now. That team's confidence in him is shot. Keep it that way.
Yep.
Keep it that way. Darius, like I said, Darius Slayton and Richie James are the other two guys for the Bills, because I'm watching the Bills. The Giants' offensive weapons. It comes down to Daniel Jones' legs, Saquon Barkley. I think he shut that down. I think the Cowboys' defense will be in control in this game. I remember, though, years ago under Rob Marinelli, we used to go into games and say, their offensive line stinks, and the Cowboys' defensive line would do nothing. I don't think that's the case.
That's this different. This different. This different. The players are different.
This thing different, man.
And they have a guy that's different on his defense.
They do. I'm sorry, he's generational. I'm saying they got a generational guy there over there, and then the dudes around him are dogs. And I think they're going to get after him. 7 sacks last week. They might be able to top that this week. Let's switch sides. Let's go to the Cowboys offense. Nick, against the Giants defense, who is the better of the two, in my opinion?
Yes.
Now, with that said, they still are not great on the ground, where the Cowboys have been great. 25th in the league in rush yards allowed, 31st in yards per carry at 5.3, 22nd in sack percentage, and they're going to be without a guy who's supposed to be a sack guy, Azeez Ojulari. He won't be playing in this game. They will get Leonard Williams back, though. Yep. So when Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence are going to be two guys in that interior that we're going to have to deal with down in, down out. But overall, I do think that this Giants defense is susceptible to getting ran on, like they did in Week 3 when the Cowboys rushed for like over 140 yards or something like that.
Yeah, the Cowboys in that rush game had 176 yards earlier in that game in the season. The one thing that concerns me about this Giants defense is their defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale is the leader in the National Football League in blitzing. They're going to blitz you 43% of the time. And that's the scary part for me because Wink and Dayball, they all know going into this game, we don't have everything that we need. So offensively for the Giants, they're going to try to do some trick plays. They may go for it on fourth downs when they may not necessarily go for it before. But defensively, Wink's like, hey, I'm sending the house. I'm sending guys because I can't stand up to those guys man-to-man and beat them. I'm down safeties. I'm down corners. So I have to formulate and work out some sort of exotic blitzes in this situation where I can try to get after the quarterback to maybe create some incompletions, maybe some tip passes, maybe some strip sack fumbles. Do something to create some sort of hecticness and spark for this team because straight up and down, you cannot face this team and beat them. So for the Cowboys offensively, they have to also remember, hey, let's leave no doubt. Let's run the football. I put in my notes, I put short week 6 players game plan from last week for the boys. Yeah. They should have packed that in the duffel, in the Louis duffel, in the Balenciaga duffel, in the Gucci backpack, whatever it is. They should have packed that and then brought that to home because of the short week. When you have a short week, it's tough to put a new game plan in because you don't have practices. You had a lot of walkthroughs. Guys are injured. Guys are tired. You travel back. So I think last week's game plan, which was flawless in Minnesota, should be the game plan that the Cowboys have worked on offensively and should be the one that they deploy today against the New York Football Giants.
I've got continue to do what you do.
Yeah.
Like Cowboys have, 10 games?
Okay, so when you say continue to do what you do, which team, though? Because we've seen it
That's
up and
what I'm
down.
getting at.
Okay, let me get out your way.
I got you, brother.
My fault.
I got you.
Look, let me step to the side.
No, you knew where I'm
right. Okay.
We on the same wavelength.
Let me get out your way. Let me get out your way. I apologize.
We got 10 games, right? 10 games. 8 of the 10 games, you've done what you do. And you've won pretty much. Now, one of them you lost. It was not the Green Bay game. What was the other game? The Eagles game. Mm-hmm. One of them you lost, but you did what you did. It's just the quarterback was the quarterback at that time. He wasn't good in that game. But 8 of the 10 games, you remained balanced. You ran the ball. You stuck to your formula. And Coach came out and said that the formula last week was we came in here with the ability to focus on the run and then play the pass off of that because of both Tony and Ezekiel Elliott being available.
Yep.
That's what you do. Focus on the run and then play the pass off of that. A lot of people take that as a slight to Dak Prescott. I think that's silly to me, man, because that is what makes him best.
Right.
And not that works for most quarterbacks, but when you take a guy who is as good as Dak Prescott, it takes him and the team to another level. They ran the same formula against Cooper Rush. He had one of the worst offenses in the league. You ran the same formula with Dak, and guess what? When he came back, you got the number 1 offense in the NFL. Oh, because you have a quarterback that can execute that at a high level. So that's what I mean by do what you do. Stick to the formula. What they didn't do was the glitches in Green Bay where they felt like they needed to check out of things or throw the ball a little bit more or get off track or what have you, or against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When they came out, they wouldn't stick to the ground game when the Bucs were letting you run, and it wasn't like the game was out of control. In my opinion, this season, those are the outliers. So that's what I mean by continue to do what you do, man. Lean on this run action. I say action because do you have to run it 40 times against the team? Probably not. But if you commit to the action of it, now you got the play action. Now you got these 3 tight ends out there, 2 tight ends that can get out in a route if you want to come out of it and check the line of scrimmage. But present that run action to this team, and I think you'll be able to go up and down the field like you've been over the last few weeks. You did it against Green Bay.
Right.
It's just you got in a rut in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and for the Cowboys, this is one of those games when you look at it and you say, well, we put up 40 against the Bears, and then we kind of dropped down and lost that game against Green Bay. And then you found yourself again, and you come out and you put a performance of a lifetime, one of the best that I've seen from start to finish from a Cowboys team on all 3 phases against the Minnesota Vikings. To me, you just can't have a letdown. You can't have a letdown today. And sometimes when you're dealing with the holidays, when you're dealing with being at home, Thanksgiving, a lot of these players, and I've experienced this for 3 seasons with the Cowboys, is that when you're playing on Thanksgiving and you're a Dallas Cowboy player, you now become the host home for your family's Thanksgiving dinner. right? So no matter where you're from, because most of these players aren't from the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
No.
So you're flying all of your family in, right? So you're dealing with travel plans and who's flying and who's driving. And sometimes, you may have mom or wife or girlfriend kind of handle those things, but somehow, some way, it kind of gets back to you about what's going on, if you at the end of the day or not. You got to worry about tickets. Who's all going to get tickets for this football game? How many do you need? Who's coming? What names? And so on and so forth. And then, it's all those things in a very, very short weekend. Like we talked about earlier, a lot of this team is dealing with an illness. They're dealing with a sickness. And that's a little bit different than dealing with an injury. Because at this point in time of the year, I can tell you, I can attest to this, everybody's dealing with something.
Yeah.
Everybody's ailing, everybody's hurting, everybody's sore. But now you add to the fact that there's an immune system problem. That wears you down, and the proper rest that you may need, you may not be getting because of travel from away games, because people just don't sleep the way they're supposed to be sleeping, and that energy is being zapped away from you. So, the Cowboys cannot afford to have a letdown in this game. That's why they have to come out and to use the word that you come out and do what you do. So this game can be put into the
be over in the third quarter
pot,
again.
In the third quarter, because you just don't want to you kill the wounded animal.
Yeah.
You don't give them an opportunity to live. You don't give them an opportunity to create a little bit of courage, to create a little bit of you know what, we can actually play with these guys. Or you find yourself in the fourth quarter up maybe a score or 7 points, and now we're talking about that play should have been called, this penalty should have been called. So this is a team who is very wounded. This is a team who is looking to quit, and they have an excuse. If they go down today, they can say, well, you know what, we fought hard, but we were missing a boatload of players and whatever.
Right.
But don't give them an opportunity to look up in the third quarter and go, listen, guys, we're right here. And that's when those YOLO plays start going in their favor, and then you throw one, you throw one up in the air and it's a pass interference. Now they got the ball down in the red zone. So the Cowboys have to come out today, be sound, be ready to go, and don't have a lapse in your performance so that you give this football team a chance.
The Cowboys have been using, I don't want to say failures, but certain things for motivation, right? The Green Bay Packer game was motivation going into that Minnesota game.
Yeah.
This week, they're coming off of a big victory, the biggest blowout victory on the road in the history of this team, which still is crazy to think about. But what would you say, and this is rhetorical to you, I'm going to answer it. What would you say is their motivation today? To me, it would be the butt kicking that they got last year in front of their friends and family on Thanksgiving. So I don't think this is Thanksgiving. Last year, I know what happened. That taste should still be in your mouth.
And the year before.
The year before and the year before. You don't want this to be the fourth Thanksgiving. Your friends and family is coming down here and they walking away with a bad taste in their mouth, and you embarrassed because you lost to a kicker who's out here eating your turkey on your field now. Like that's the other thing. They coming into your crib.
Right.
Into your crib and beating you on Thanksgiving. So I think they should take remember last year. Remember what happened last year. Let's get out here. Let's focus. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. I don't care if they're wounded. They shouldn't care if they're wounded. No one ever cares if Dallas is wounded, so I don't want to hear it.
Nope.
Go out here and handle your business. I do want to make a quick correction. I should have kept reading. Takk McKinley is out. He's not.
Okay.
He's not. He's been elevated from the practice squad, but he's inactive.
Gotcha.
So he is out. My apologies, Cowboys Nation. Takk will not be getting his chance to play this week. That means more snaps for Sam Williams, which I'm all for, by the way. I'm all for that, to see Sam Williams get some more snaps. All right, let's get to our third block, y'all. One of my favorite parts of the show. It's our high-low game. But this week, a little bit different. Let me tell you why it's a little bit different. There is a promotion going on over on Underdog Fantasy right now where you could turn $1, a $1 holla, to $100. And it involves using Dak Prescott in the high-low game, and that's what we did. So you have to do a pick 5. So this ain't me being greedy, Jesse. This is me being part of the boost.
Okay, take the money.
Be part of the boost. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the boost. I got a pick 5, and it involves Dak Prescott. And this is what you got to do. You got to go to Underdog Fantasy Sports. Use the promo code ATOZ. You can deposit whatever you want to deposit. If it's your first time, they will match it up to $100. It's the easiest way to continue to have fun if your fantasy league is already done. Bars. And I'm that way. But Go on over A to Z or use A to Z promo code Underdog Fantasy, and let's turn this $1 into 100 with the pick 5. Here are my pick 5s. We're going to start with Dak Prescott. Higher or lower 246 passing yards for the chance to win $100. Higher or lower?
You got 257.
I'm sorry, 257 and a half. I'm sorry, 257 and a half because
Lower.
they changed it.
Lower.
You want lower?
Lower.
I want lower too.
But you went lower?
I want lower.
Okay.
No. Which
I thought you said you want lower. You went lower.
Oh no, I went lower.
Okay, cool.
I just don't think they're going to need to throw the ball a bunch today.
No.
You know?
I don't think so either.
25, 26 attempts.
I
Which
think
he could
maybe-
be super efficient
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it,
but yeah.
250,
257, no. No, I'm
I'm
lower.
looking at I'm looking somewhere around 240 to 250. Like right around there. A couple touchdowns.
I'm more looking like 215, 220.
So somewhere like 22, 23.
Yeah, 2
attempts.
touchdowns.
Run the ball like 35, 40 times.
Out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, too. If this thing is over by the third quarter,
Yeah.
you ain't going to get a chance to get
Yeah,
up there.
it's just a Cooper Rush.
I call them the Super Cooper Trooper Truthers. That's what I call them.
Whatever.
Cooper Rush. So I got lower Cowboys Nation. Y'all can go ahead and play along as well. Daniel Jones. This is a tricky one. Higher or lower 238 and a half total yards.
Ooh, total.
Total yards.
You know, I'm going to go lower. And here's why. This defense is getting ready to get after it. Like these dudes up front, like they smell the blood in the water.
Facts.
And they know there's only 2 really good options for this Cowboys team. For this Giants team to have any hope in winning. And that's Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
So if they focus in on nothing else, if Kenny Galladay goes out there and has a Randy Moss 3 catch for 163 and 3 touchdowns, we tip our hat to Kenny Galladay and the Giants and we go, all right, cool. But if Saquon goes for 150, 175 yards and Daniel Jones goes for another 80 yards and 175 yards throwing, now we failed because we knew that coming into the game and we didn't shut it down. But I'm going to go lower than that.
Kevin Hart once said, he said, I'm not a fighter. If you with me, if you a girl and you with me and you get smacked, you just got smacked. If Kenny Galladay go off for 3 touchdowns and 150 yards, he just went off for 3 touchdowns and 150 yards. That's just what happens.
Right.
I'm taking the chances that would happen. You're right. Focus in on Daniel Jones. And the next guy we're going to go to, I have lower as well because what the Cowboys did to Kirk Cousins last week, they're still on that road. I think they're still feeling hungry. And I can't express this enough. The offensive line is just so bad right now due to the guys that are out. And it wasn't that great when they were there. They gave up the 7th most sacks with the healthy offensive line. Now they're putting in these backups to the backups.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I got lower. And if it is higher, I think it'll be because they keep him in for all 4 quarters and a blowout potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Saquon Barkley. This is a tough one because he can catch the rock. Higher or lower 100.5 receiving and rushing yards.
Higher.
Higher?
Yeah.
So he's going to be the guy.
No, I don't. I think he's going to play all the way through. And, even if he has 50 and 50, right, he can have 60 and 40. I think, holding Saquon to 60 yards rushing is pretty darn good. And if he gets, a couple of swing passes and gets 40 yards, I think that's a doable situation where you're saying, all right, well, he didn't kill us, but, it's when you look at the end of the day, he goes, oh, he had 105 total yards because he had 65 yards rushing and, 40 yards, 45 yards passing.
This was the toughest one for me. Because I was thinking the same thing, like, man, if the Cowboys are up by double digits and they just can't get anything on the ground, they can still dump it off to Saquon Barkley. And he could walk out of here with 46 rushing yards and 69, receiving yards, and boom, he got it. But I pick lower. I just think, again, with this offensive line, I just feel like they're going to dominate this game. And, again, things can happen. It's football any given Sunday or Thursday, but the Cowboys are just so much better defensively. And I don't think Dan Quinn is going to have a Green Bay moment where he mistakenly runs wrong schemes against said quarterback. I think he'll have it dialed up right this week. All right, let's get back to the Cowboys players. Higher or lower, Tony Pollard. I always use Tony because it's easy money. 86.5 rushing and receiving yards.
Yeah, that's higher. That's without a shadow of a doubt. Tony Pollard right now is ranked the 4th best running back in the National Football League according to PFF. So
money, man.
Yeah. There's that I use that gift that when Kobe was talking to Kyrie, when young Kyrie talking about, I said, man, you can't guard me 1-on-1. I'll play you for any amount. He was like, Easy money.
Still say that.
Easy money. Easy money. That right there, that Tony Pollard, I think 86 and a half rushing and receiving total.
Man.
Easy money.
Come on,
Easy money.
If Tony Pollard is not on if you play Underdog Fantasy Sports Pick'em, he should be on your ballot every week. They make it easy to get bread from Tony Pollard, man. I got to hire. I don't need to explain.
Yep.
He's good for a 20, 30, 40, 50-yard play. Seems like every single game. So he can get half, if not more, in one play on that. So easy money. And then Dalton Schultz, higher or lower 4 receptions. He got me last week, man.
What did he have, 3?
He had 3.
Ooh, I got to go back to high. I got to go back to higher.
I did the same thing.
I got to go back to higher. I got to believe that he's going to get 4 or 5 catches in this game.
Back-to-back, less than 4? No way.
No way.
No way. Yeah.
And he's one of the guys who, even when the game's out of reach, he'll probably still be in there.
Yeah, you can get a little dump off from
absolutely.
Cooper Rush.
From Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I got higher. I think they get back on track. When I say back on track, I mean they didn't need him last week.
Right.
But if it is closer in the first half or what have you, Dalton Schultz would be a guy that they'll dump it. And again, blitzing. You talk about blitzes that the mad scientist Wink Martindale will do. How do you defeat that? The connection that he has best with anybody on this team is Dalton Schultz. Hot read is usually Dalton Schultz. He knows where to fill in that void from the blitz and then boom, dump it off. He might have 4 receptions in the first half. So
yeah, I like that.
I got higher for him as well. I'm telling y'all, man, head on over to Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code and use our $100 $1 pick 'em. I bet you'll win some money today. I'm just saying. All right.
Black Friday tomorrow, so y'all might need a little bit of that cheddar.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Let's get to our mouse in the house and our predictions for this game. I think we're going to share the same mouse in the house. I'm just curious, though. What's your mouse in the house?
What's the low-hanging fruit?
The offensive line.
It's the offensive
How
line.
would we go anywhere else?
I mean, you can say the secondary for the what?
Dory Jackson's out,
but
Fabian Moreau is out.
When you see what the Cowboys did last week against the Minnesota Vikings, you have no choice but look at it and go, they're about they might hurt Daniel Jones. They might. Daniel Jones may get hit so much that they have to take him out the game.
He gonna be like, my body different.
My body different.
He in New York.
Yeah.
My body different.
Hey? I'm breathing different. I'm breathing different, B. So yeah, I mean, mouse in the house is when you have the backups to the backups. When you have multiple third-string players on your offensive line, I mean that's a very, very easy situation to look at and go, here's where we have our advantage at.
Yeah, it's definitely that offensive line. And if we wanted to break it down a player or two, I'd say the interior, because Aleem McNeil, I said at the top of this show, Aleem McNeil for the Detroit Lions had a career-high 10 pressures from the interior. Like, you can't have pressure from the interior, let alone 10.
Right.
Now you're going to have to deal with Bo, I think, is back in this game. Osa, they're going to slide D-Law in there when they go to end game. Shout out to my guy,
Micah Parsons rush.
Micah Parsons up
rush
the middle.
Rush for the A gap in the last game.
Twist stunts.
Yeah.
So that means, Sam, oh, my goodness, man. Mouse in the house is that offensive line, but specifically the interior.
Sure, on the West Coast.
On the interior of the offensive line. Your prediction for the game.
Oh, boy. I told you when we started this thing. I've been saying it all week, and I hope I'm not here having to eat my words like a turkey sandwich or something like that. But this is without a shadow of a doubt, man, one of those games where, when we come into the halftime show, that it should be difficult for us to talk about in the post-game show because it's such a blowout.
We should be talking about desserts.
Like literally, I look forward to watching the game. I'm like, you want to see broadcasters really have to earn their money. It's games like I feel like this game is going to be today. When the game is so far out of reach and the networks can't do like they did last week and change to another game, you got to just leave the game on, and now guys are going to have to try to find things interesting to talk about because the game won't be interesting. This game is going to be one of those where you can start your pre-afternoon nap and get ready for the later game because it's going to be over. This is going to be –
it should be.
This is going to be a blowout. I really – this is going to be ugly. This is going to be 3-6 Mafia, Grammy Award-winning, whoop that trick type of game. And I want it to be – I want it to be because when you look at a guy like Tank Lawrence who's dealing with 2 feet injuries and 2 feet. 2 foot.
Oh, yeah, right there.
2 feet. 2 feet?
2 feet, yeah.
Or 1 foot, 2 foot.
His footsis.
His footsis is bothering him. Both his feet are bothering him. His knee. Micah wanted minutes.
Feet. That's what
his
it is.
feet, right? his 2 feet injuries. I say 2 feet. Is it 2 feet or
Two-step.
Two-stepping. His two-stepping is a little bit off.
It's off.
His cha-cha slide ain't got much
that
cha-cha.
smooth.
It ain't that smooth, and he got a bad knee. Micah, who won't admit it, of what it is, you can tell he's dealing with something of the lower extremity. There are a ton of guys who you want to just say, hey, guy,
Come on.
come over here.
You're going to have to steal Micah's helmet.
Fine, I'm fine with that. Take his helmet, give him some sunflower seeds. Y'all can start looking up in his days at family and be like, yo, get the mac and cheese ready, Mom, because get the mac and cheese. Y'all can start heading, beat the traffic on this rain. Beat the traffic, get home, get the plates ready, because this thing is over. I got Cowboys 34, the New York Giants 10.
Micah said last week, come on, Coach, I need one more assist.
Yeah.
George Edwards said, man, sit down. He said, all right, I ain't practicing this week.
Yeah.
George said, you don't practice anyway. That's going to be good. I think it's going to happen again, man. There is no reason why they shouldn't, put their dominance on this team.
Yep.
The only thing that would give me slight pause is that the NFL was the NFL, and blowing teams out in back-to-back weeks is hard, especially on a short week. 40-3 is crazy. To come back and do it again or something similar is hard to do. But I just think when you go down the line, they are so much better than this team that the saving grace is that the Giants are coached well. So maybe Brian Daboll has something up his sleeve. Wink Martindale has something up his sleeve. But I said this a couple weeks ago. It didn't come to fruition. The cream should rise to the top. And, yes, you might have to stave off their energy at the beginning of the game, but I think the better team will rise to the top, and it'll rise fast, and it'll rise really high. And I just think this Cowboys team, wins by 2 at minimum scores, 3 at the max. So I'm with you. I got somewhere around 31-13 type of score, and that might even be high. They had 3 points last week.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago against the Giants, they're going to give up 6 points.
Yep.
And I know the Bears did what they did, but this Bears offense, I think, was better, or is better moving along, I think, right now than this Giants offense and offensive line. So Cowboys 31-13 type of game, man.
Yeah, no, and like you said, this thing should be out of reach. I know, the Giants, they're 5th in the league right now in time of possession. They want to hold on to the ball and keep that thing as long as they possibly can. But I just don't think they have the troops up front that's going to allow them to do what they want to do with time of possession to keep the Cowboys offense on the off the field. And I think once they get on the field with all of their injuries, you're going to see CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Tony. You're going to just see a host of guys be able to get off. It's going to be one of those games where guys are still trying to fight to get this game so they can get their stats.
I think we're going to have a Jesse Holley moment on this Thanksgiving Day, too. I think we'll get a special teams moment that helps out here. I think Turpin.
Finally.
He's been trying to get one of these all year. Thanksgiving. He got this swag to him where every week it feel like they kind of getting at him because he ain't getting it. And he like, yo, I'm going to get this week.
Right.
I just think today they do because going into the game in week 3, and this was a while ago, I haven't followed them, the Giants had one of the worst punt return units, defensive units in the league. I don't know how good it's been since, but Turpin almost got one in that game, if you guys remember. So I think he'll get one again.
And I'll tell you this, when you talk about injuries, right, because when you have to go to backups, those guys who are normally your backups or your second and third string guys are your special teams aces. So now those guys have been elevated to the starting position. So now you even have more of lesser type talent players now playing your special teams who may not have many reps, who may not have much experience. So to your point, it may actually happen because the guys who normally play and dominate in those positions are being asked to be starters or rotational guys and taking off those special teams because they need them on offensive defense. So you might have a point right here where this may be the week finally that Turpin gets off and gets one back to the house. And I know that if he does, the roof will pop off AT&T Stadium because he's been kind of itching to get one all year long.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before we get out of here, man, shout out to the Bomb Squad that has come on over from our other YouTube channel to be with us here in the pregame show. They're familiar with what happened last week. I appreciate y'all. Matter of fact, I appreciate y'all. I see y'all in there. Special K. We got Bruce Got the Juice, best rapper alive. Who else came up through? Gregory, Sin City, I see ya. Facebook, thank you for being here as well. I see y'all, Glenn Austin, and many more. Who? Mac Jones, Cold Jelly. A lot of y'all, thank y'all for coming on over. We should be back up and running on Monday or Tuesday. Things should be back to the way they were, but I thank y'all for coming over. And it's Thanksgiving, and I am thankful for the Cowboys Nation, the fans that come in here and view view us every week, view us on all of our platforms.
Yep.
I'm thankful for my big homie, Jesse Holley, for going with this journey with me.
Yes.
It's so crazy. I say it seemed like the 2 years in a row I've said this. Came on our show years ago, had no idea. Years later, we'd have this type of relationship, man. So I'm thankful to have you in my life here in Dallas and just in general, man. So happy Thanksgiving to you and the fam, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
and
it.
Mamba and them.
Yeah,
all them
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. The same thing here, man. I say this publicly, I say it privately, and it's always an honor and a privilege to work with one of the most talented human beings that I've ever worked with. And I've worked with a lot of people, but you are definitely at the top in all of what you do. And I don't even think people realize sometimes what all goes into being able to have that productivity that people see week in and week out on your platforms, on our platform together right here. And so, but we can't do this without you. And so I want to say thank you to all of you who consistently tune in, who come by and dap us up, who watch faithfully, who literally put the notifications on so you can say, yo, Jess and Will is on. Will and Jess is on. Got to tune in. Must see TV. So we appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts, man. And these moments that we get a chance to share with one another, we're family. This is our extended family, and we can do this. And shout out to our boy Nick, who's behind the scenes. He's a little.
We are thankful for him too.
We're thankful for Nick as well. Because Nick, again, you talk about all this stuff that happens.
Keep that illness over there.
Keep all of that over there. But talk about all of this stuff that we get a chance to do. It's people like Nick who make all this stuff possible, who you don't see, but trust and believe you me, we get a chance to stand in front of the camera and produce this. But Nick is one of our guys, man. He always holds us down. Shout out to Austin and Zach, the bosses back in Tennessee, man. We're thankful for you. We're thankful for everything that you've done for us, and we appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes, indeed, man. Happy Thanksgiving, Cowboys Nation. Come on back for Game Day Live, the halftime show, where we should be talking about what we're doing afterwards, where we going.
I got the Holy Trinity waiting for me at the crib. That's the macaroni, the yams, and the collard greens. You know what I'm saying? The Holy Trinity going to be on the way, baby.
All right, we'll be back. Halftime show. Make sure y'all come back and join us, man. We out of here. Peace.